Hare Krishna, in Sri Ram. Jai Sri Ram.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jai Sri Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namo. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadigaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Recording in progress.
Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, you are welcome for continuity of our Bhakti Vaibhav study of the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are starting the new chapter, chapter 4, Hans Guhya prayers. So these are the prayers which are already in the Vedic literature, which are recited and offered by Daksha to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the summary of the chapter given by Srila Prabhupada. After Maharaj Parikshit appealed to Sukdev Goswami to describe in further detail the creation of the living entities within this universe, Sukdev Goswami informed him that when the Prachetas, the 10 sons of Prachin Barahi, entered the sea to execute austerities, the planet Earth was neglected because of the absence of the king. Naturally, many weeds and unnecessary trees grew, and no food grains were produced. Indeed, all the land became like a forest. When the 10 Prachetas came out of the sea and saw the entire world full of trees, they were very angry with the trees and decided to destroy them all to rectify the situation. Thus Prachetas created wind and fire to burn the trees to ashes. Soma, however, the king of the moon and the king of all the vegetation, forbade the Prachetas to destroy the trees, since the trees are source of the fruits and flowers for all living beings. Just to satisfy the Prachetas, Soma gave them a beautiful girl born of Pramolocha Apsara. By the semen of all the Prachetas, Daksh was born of that girl. In the beginning, Daksh created all the demigods, demons, human beings, but when he found the population not increasing properly, he took sannyas and went to the Vindhya mountain, where he underwent severe austerities and offered Lord Vishnu a particular prayer known as Hans Guhya, by which Lord Vishnu became very pleased with him. The content of the prayers are as follows. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, Lord Hari, is the controller of both the living entities and the material nature. He is self-sufficient and self-effulgent. as the subject matter of perception is not the cause of our perceiving senses. So the living entities, although within this body, does not cause the eternal friend, the super soul, who is the cause of creation of all the senses. Because of the living entity's ignorance, his senses are engaged with material objects. Since the living entity is alive, he can understand the creation of this material world to some extent, but he cannot understand Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the conception of body, mind, and intelligence. Nevertheless, great sages who are always in meditation can see the personal form of Lord within their heart. Since an ordinary living being is materially contaminated, his words and intelligence are also material. Therefore, he cannot ascertain the Supreme Personality of Godhead by manipulating his material senses. The conception of the God derived through the material senses is inaccurate because the Supreme Lord is beyond the material senses. But when one engages senses in devotional service, the eternal Supreme Personality of God is revealed on the platform of the soul. When the Supreme Godhead becomes the aim of one's life, one is said to have attained spiritual knowledge. The Supreme Brahm is the cause of all causes because he originally existed before the creation. He is the original cause of everything, both material and spiritual. His existence is independent. However, the Lord has a potency called avidya, the illusory energy, which induces false arguer to think himself perfect, and which induces illusory energy to bewilder the conditioned soul. That Supreme Brahm, the Super Soul, is very affectionate to his devotees. To bestow mercy upon them, he discloses his form, name, attributes, and qualities to be worshipped within this material world. Unfortunately, however, those who are materially absorbed worship various demigods. As the air passes over a lotus flower and carries the scent of the flower with it, or as the air sometimes carries dust and therefore assume colors, the Supreme Personal Godhead appears as various demigods according to the desire of his various foolish worshippers. But actually, he is the Supreme Truth, Lord Vishnu. To fulfill the desire of his devotees, he appears in various incarnations, and therefore there's no need to worship the demigods. Being very satisfied by the prayer of Daksha, Lord Vishnu appeared before Daksha with 8 arms. The Lord was dressed in a yellow garment and had a blackish complexion. Understanding that Daksha was very eager to follow the path of enjoyment, the Lord awarded him the potency to enjoy the illusory energy. Lord offered him the daughter of Panchajanya named Asikni, who was suitable for Maharaj Daksha to enjoy in sex. Indeed, Daksha received his name because he was very expert in sex life. After awarding this benediction, Lord Vishnu departed. So Chakravarti Pad has this overview. Poshan, protection concerning Indra, it means upcoming chapters. Who killed his guru, Vishwarup, will be explained. Guru Vishwarup was born from the son Tushta of the Daksha's daughter Aditi. The birth of Daksha was described briefly at the end of 4th canto. Now in the 6th canto, Daksha will be described in 3 chapters. Parikshit asks about the creation. After hearing about the descendant of Swayambhu, Manu's daughters, the present chapter describes how Daksha, born from the Pracheta, recited Hansaguya prayers in praise of the Lord in order to create progeny. Now, we have 1st and 2nd verse Parikshit asked about creation of other species. So this is the first section, just two verses with no purport. Sri Raja Uvacha, Dev Asur Nirnam Sargo. Dev means demigod, Asur means demonic person, Nirnam means human beings. Sargo means creation by the Supreme Lord. Naganam, the serpent. Mraga, the animals. Pakshinam, the birds. Samasikas tva prakto. Samasikas means in short. You have explained all of these things in summary. Samas means summary. Yastu Swayambhut Antre, during the reign of Swayambhu Manu. Tasyeva Vyasam Ichhami, I want to hear an elaboration. Vyas means elaboration. So there are two words, Samas and Vyas. There are two words, Samas and Vyas. Samas means in short, Vyas means in detail. So Samas and Vyas are the two words. Vyas means to elaborate. Gyatum te Bhagavan yatha, you know the most powerful as Anusargam. Anusargam means secondary creation, Visarga. A secondary creation by Brahma. Yaya Shaktya, and the energy. Sasraje Bhagavan Paraha. Now this is the translation of these verses. Blessed King said to Sukdev Goswami, my dear Lord, the demigod, demon, human beings, Naga, beast and birds were created during the reigns of Swayambhu Manu. You have spoken about this creation briefly in third canto. Now I wish to know about it elaborately. I also wish to know about the potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by which He brought about this secondary creation. The secondary creation was described briefly in the third canto. Now I desire to know about the subsequent creation in detail, Vyasam. From you, I wish to know about Shakti and its varieties by which Brahma creates. Because Brahma is secondary creator. Visarga is a creation of Brahma. Now this is Suta Goswami. Suta Goswami is speaking. Suta Vacha iti sampraschanam akaranya. Akaranya means hearing. After hearing the question by king, Raj Rishi means Parikshit Maharaj, when he asked question, Badarayani means son of Vyasdev, Sukdev Goswami. Pratinindya means he glorified. Pratinindya means he glorified that you have a good question. It means when somebody asks question, we should appreciate him and glorify his intelligence. Mahayogi, the Sukdev Goswami. Jagad Muni Satam, he is the best among the sages. Suta Goswami said, O great sages assembled at Naimisharanya. After the great yogi Sukdev Goswami heard King Parikshit's inquiry, he praised it. He glorified, he praised it. And thus replied. So now the verse 3 to 17, this section, events that lead to birth of Daksha, who eventually created the other species. So question is about the creation, but creation is carried out by Daksha. So there is a preliminary introduction of the events that leads to the birth of Daksha. In order to, this is a connection with the, in order to explain how Daksha carried out secondary creation, first the way in which he took birth again after giving up his body with a goat's head is explained. It means we know in fourth canto, Daksha offended Lord Shiva and he was beheaded by Veerbhadra, and Lord Shiva then transplanted the goat's head on the body of Daksha. Oh, this was in the Swayambhu Manu's time. Now from this Swayambhu Manu's time, for 5 more time of Manus, he was doing austerity. He gave up that body. And then he got the new body of Daksha as son of Pracheta. So we have same Daksha, who was son of Brahma in the Swayambhu Manvanta, has now become the Kshatri son of Prachetas in the 6th Manvanta, Chakshasu Manvanta. That will come in some purport. So this is the story of this same. Oh, now Sri Shuka Vacha. Yada Prachetas Putra Dasha Prachin Barahisha. We know 10 Prachetar are the son of Prachin Barahish. Prachi means eastern direction, and Barahish means one who performed the sacrifice. So he performed so many sacrifices on the earth that the kush grass, if spread on the earth with a facing eastern, the whole earth can be covered. So it's Prachin Barahi. Anta Samudra Unmagna. On the order of his father, they went to perform austerities deep down in the ocean. Dadashu Gam Durmai Virtan. When they came out after, say, these Prachetas, or which Sampradaya the Prachetas are, by the way? Rudra. Prachetas are from Rudra Sampradaya because they were directly instructed by Lord Shiva and Rudra Geet. And then they went underwater and then they did austerities, and then Lord Vishnu directly gave him darshan. And he was pleased with them. So they are disciple of Lord Shiva, the great Vaishnava. They have directly have a darshan of Lord Vishnu, but when they came out from the ocean and reached to their own country, the country was just like forest. So they become angry. Now after seeing Lord and after guided by a great spiritual master, Rudra, they become angry. So it is interesting. Now Srila Prabhupada's purport is simply the recapitulation of some description of 4th canto. When King Prachin Bharit was performing Vedic ritual in which the killing of animal was recommended, Narad Muni, out of compassion, advised him to stop. Prachin Bharit understood Narad properly. What Narad told to Prachin Bharit that he understood properly? What Narad told to Prachin Bharit that he understood properly, and then he left the kingdom to perform austerity in the forest. What did he say? One allegory. What is that?
Puranjana story.
Puranjan story. Yes, Puranjan Upakhyan. Narad told him Puranjan Upakhyan, right. The 10 sons, however, were performing austerity within the water at that time. And therefore, there was no king to see the management of the world. When the 10 sons, the Prachetas, came out of the water, they saw that the earth was overrun with trees. Now, Prabhupada is giving the analogy. not analogy and what this forest means. When the government neglect agriculture, it means there was nobody to take care of the land for agriculture, which is necessary for the production of food. The land becomes covered with unnecessary trees. Of course, many trees are useful because they produce fruits and flowers, but many other trees are unnecessary. They should be used as fuel and the land cleared and used for agriculture. When the government is negligent, less grain is produced. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Krishi Goraksha Vanijam Vaishya Karma Subhavajam. Krishi Goraksha Vanijam. Krishi means agriculture, Go Raksha means cow protection, Vanijam means trading. Basically, to really understand this is Go, the agriculture should be based on the bulls and cows, and the Vanijam or the business or the trading should also be done depending upon the cow and bulls production. So this is all no factory because Go is in the middle. So based on cow protection, there should be agriculture and there should also be Vanijam or Hare Krishna, Ratana, Pariswami, wake up.
Yes, bro.
Hare Krishna. So when king don't take care of the agriculture, then there is the forest everywhere. So duty of the government and the Kshatriya is to see that the members of the third class, which means Vaishya, who are neither Brahman nor Kshatriya, are thus properly engaged. Kshatriyas are meant to protect human beings, whereas the Vaishyas are meant to protect animals, especially cows. So these two lines you remember always. Kshatriya protect human beings and Vaishya protect animals, particularly cows. So in order to explain how creation was carried out by Daksh, first the way in which Daksh took his birth after he gave up the body with a goat's head that he received as an insult. The son of Prachin Barahi saw that the earth was covered with trees. When King Prachin Barahi had become detached and had gone to the forest, the earth was covered with trees because the lack of agriculture caused by an absence of king. So this word agriculture from this Prabhupada is expanded in the purport. Now,
Excuse me, can I ask a little question?
yes.
Why Narada advised Prachinabharhi to retire, although there were no other king to rule the earth at that time?
This is like when Prabhupada met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and he said, no, our country is not independent, so first we get independent, then we can preach. And Bhaktisiddhanta says, spirituality cannot wait for anything. You immediately take this. So when he heard Narad Muni, so the person, preacher like Narad Muni, the detachment is immediate. He was not at all concerned with the ruling and everything. He said, minister, when my son comes, you please enthrone them as king and take care of them. Okay, Hare Krishna. And he went just for his perfection. Now this is the other thought, says in Vedic culture there are three levels of forest. One is called Srivan, which means to be cut down for service, yajna, etc. So there are special forests which the wood can be used for yajna, for other service, for means making the furniture. Like around Jagannath Puri, there is a special forest which is only meant for making Jagannath card every year. Every year Jagannath cards are newly made, and that is from a special forest which is reserved for that purpose. And all the Jagannath Prasad is cooked on a wood. So there is a special forest from which the wood is used for Jagannath cooking. So that is called Srivan. Then there is a Tapovan, meant for those who will perform austerities there. So there are special, like Vrindavan is a Tapovan, where you can go and do austerities, cutting only for bare necessities. You cannot cut any tree in Tapovan until unless it is extremely necessary for some emergency. Then there are Mahavana or Devvana, sacred groves, no human beings allowed to enter, and of course no cutting. So there are, like we have in Vrindavan, Nidhi Van. So such one in which nobody allowed to stay or cut anything else. So these are the different type of forests in Vedic literature. Verse number 5. Duramebhya, Duram is trees. Trees are called in Sanskrit Durma. Duramebhya Krudhyamanas, the Prachetas, they become angry on the trees. Tapo Deepitah Manyavaha. Tapo Deepit means they immediately, by their mystic power, blew the wind and created fire. Why? Manyavaha, they become angry. Manyu means they become angry. They become angry, they produce fire and air. Mukhato, from their own mouth. Vayum Agnim, Vayu means air, Agni means fire. Cha. Sirsaju tada didikshaya, they wanted to burn everything. So because of having undergone long austerities in the water, the Prachetas were very angry at trees. Now Prabhupada's purport is, if you only do austerities, you will become angry. Because you become too dry and become immediately angry. If there's no devotion, then there is a problem. Desiring to burn them to ashes, they generated wind and fire from their mouths. So Srila Prabhupada's purport. The word tapodipit manavaya manyavaha indicate the persons who have undergone severe austerities, tapasya, are endowed with great mystic power as evinced by the Prachetas, who created the fire and wind from their mouths. Although devotees undergo severe tapasya, however they are vimanyaha, means never angry, sadhava and saintly, which means they are never angry. They are always decorated with good qualities. Bhagavatam says, Titiksho karunikaha soherda sarvadehi nam ajata shatruhu shantaha sadhava sadhu bhushanam. A sadhu, a devotee, is never angry. Actually, the real feature of the devotee who undergo tapasya, austerity, is forgiveness. Although a Vaishnava has sufficient power in tapasya, he does not become angry when put into difficulty. If one undergo tapasya but do not become a Vaishnava, however, one does not develop good qualities. For example, Hiranyakashipu and Ravana also performed great austerities, but they did so to demonstrate their demonic tendencies. Vaishnava must meet many opponents while preaching the glories of the Lord. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommend that they should not become angry while preaching. Lord Chaitanya has given this formula, Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishanon Amanina Manadena Kirtanya Sada Hari. So, those engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord should be humbler than grass and more tolerant than tree. Then they can preach the glories of the Lord without difficulty. So Srila Prabhupada's purport is austerities are necessary, but without devotion, they become the cause of anger. So the devotee should never be angry, he should be more humble. Verse number 6. ताभ्याम दरदेहमानामंस्तान उपलभ्य कुरुद्वः is Parikshit Maharaj. Kurudva, the greatest of the Kuru dynasty, Maharaj Parikshit. Rajovacha mahan somo manyom prasamayam eva. When they were, so here, my dear King Parikshit, when this Soma means moon god, the king of the trees and predominating deity of the moon, saw the fire and wind burning all the trees to ashes, he felt great sympathy because he is the maintainer of all herbs and trees. To appease the anger of Prachita, Soma spoke as follows. So Soma is a master of the trees, is a king of trees and predominant deity of the moon.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
So this in any verse you remember about Soma has something to do with the vegetations or plants or herbs or nurturing the all vegetables with the juice.
It's in Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, which verse?
Can't remember it. It is in Bhagavad Gita.
In 15th chapter.
Somo bhutva rasatmaka.
Somo bhutva rasatmakah. Yes. Aham vaishvanro bhutva praninam dehamashrita pranapan samayukta pachami anam chaturvidam. After that, Somo
Gamavishyacha bhutani dharami namachasa pitami sarva somo bhutva rasatmaka.
Yes. Gamasha bhutan dharyami amosa pushnami choshadi sarva. Pushnami means I nourish. Pushnami chosa sarva. I nourish all the vegetation. Somo bhutva rasatmaka. All the rasa means taste in the vegetable is because of the moon rays. Okay. It is understood from this verse that predominant deity of the moon is maintainer of all the trees and plants throughout the universe. It is due to the moonshine that trees and plants grow very luxuriantly. Therefore, how can we accept the so-called scientists whose moon expedition have informed us that there is no trees or vegetation on the moon? Prabhupada's counter argument. Srila Vishwanath Thakur says, Somo vriksha adhisthata sa eva vrikshanam raja. Soma, the predominant deity of the moon, is the king of all vegetation. How can we believe that the maintainer of vegetation has no vegetation on his own planet? Verse number 7 to 15 says, now 7 to 15 Soma speak to Pracheta. This section, Soma is speaking to Pracheta in these verses. So this is the Soma says, Na durmebhyo mahabhaga dinebhyo drogum aharatha vivaradhyaishvo yuyam prajanam patyah samrta. O great fortunate ones, Mahabhaga, you should not call these poor trees by burning them to ashes. Your duty is to wish the citizen, Praja, all prosperity and to act as their protector. It is indicated herein that government or king has the duty of protecting not only human beings but all other living entities, including animals, trees and plants. No living entity should be killed unnecessarily. or connection with the previous verse. We are Prajapatis, Pracheta says. We can deal with them how we think is proper. So now moon is saying, Aho Prajapate Pati Bhagavan Hari Avyayah Vanaspati Moshadischa Sasaro Sasarajoram Isham Vibhu. The Supreme Personal of Godhead, Lord Hari, Sri Hari, is the master of all living entities, including all the Prajapatis, such as Lord Brahma, because he is the all-pervading and indestructible master. He has created all these trees, vegetables, and eatable for other living entities. Soma, the predominant deity of the moon, reminded the Prachetas that this vegetation had been created by the Lord of the Lords to provide food for everyone. If the Pracheta tried to kill them off, their own subject would also suffer, for the trees are also required for food. Urjam refer to eatable other than grains, such as fruits from the trees. Isham refer to grain, like wheat coming from the grass, Ushadihi. Soma is saying, Anam charanam cha achara hai apadha pada charinam ahasta hasta yuktanam dvepadam chatushpadam. This is a principle. What is the principle? By nature's arrangement, fruits and flowers are considered the food for insects and birds. Grass and other legless living entities are meant to be food for four-legged animals like cows and buffalo. Animals that cannot use their four legs as hands are meant to be food for animals like tigers, which have claws. The four-legged animals like deer and goats, as well as food grains, are meant to be the food for human beings. So this is a principle. By nature's law, or the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one kind of living entity is eatable by other living entity, as mentioned here in Dvipadam cha Chatushpada, the four-legged animal Chatushpada, as well as the food grains are eatable for human beings, Dvipada. These four-legged animals are those such as deer and goats, not cows, which are meant to be protected. Generally, the men of the higher class of society, Brahman, Kshatriya and Vaishya, do not eat meat. Sometimes Kshatriya go to the forest to kill animals like deer because they have to learn the art of killing, and sometimes they eat animal also. Shudra too eat animals such as goats. Cow, however, are never meant to be killed or eaten by human beings. In every Shastra, cow killing is vehemently condemned. Indeed, one who kills a cow must suffer as many years as the hairs on the body of cow. Manu Santa says, Pravarti esh bhutanam nivirtistu mahabhala. When we have many tendencies in the material world, but in human life, one is meant to learn how to curb those tendencies. Those who desire to eat meat may satisfy the demands of their tongues by eating lower animals, but they should never kill cow, who are actually accepted as the mother of the human society because they supply milk. Shastra especially recommend Krishi Goraksha Vanijam, Vaishya section of the human society should arrange for the food for the entire society through the agriculture activities, and they should give full protection to the cows, which are most useful animals because they supply milk to the human. So this is one of the verses in Bhagavatam where animal food is described. Chakravarti Pad writes, flower and creep are food for moving creature like bees and wings, bees with wings. Grass and other plants without feet, food for animals such as cows and buffalo. Animals with feet are food for those with grasping The legs such as tiger, animals like deer or four legs are food for human. Cha indicate also non-moving entities like grains. Verse number 10. Yuyam cha pitraha vadishta deva devena cha nagaha praja sargaya hi katham vikshaham nirdagdum aharatha. The pure-hearted ones, your father Prachin Barhit and the Supreme Personal Godhead have ordered you to generate population. Therefore, how can you burn to ashes these trees and herbs which are needed for the maintenance of your subjects and descendants? Okay, next verse. Atishta satam margam, follow the right path of the devotees. Kopam yidichat deepitam pitraha pita mahenapi jushtam vaha parpitamahi. The path of goodness traversed by your father, grandfather and great-grandfather is that of maintaining the subject, prajas, including the man, animal and trees. That is the path you should follow. Unnecessary anger is contrary to your duty. Therefore, I request you to control your anger. So, Srila Prabhupada's purport. Here the word Pitra, Pita, Mahapi, Jushtam, Parpitamas depicted an honest royal family consisting of kings, their fathers and their forefathers, and their great-grandfathers. Such a royal family has a prestigious position because it maintains the citizens and prajas, or praja. The word praja refers to one who has taken birth within the jurisdiction of a government. The exalted royal families were conscious that all living beings, whether human, animal, or lower than animals, should be given protection. Modern democratic system cannot be exalted in this way because the leader elected strive only to power and have no sense of responsibility. In monarchy, a king with a prestigious position follow the great deeds of their forefathers. Thus Soma, the king of the moon, here remind the Prachita about glories of their father, grandfather and great-grandfather. Verse number 12 is also principle. This verse is principle. Tokanam pitro bandhu. Toka means children. Pitro means parents, they have to protect. Bandhu means friend. For the children, parents are their friends and protector. Dirshaha pakshaha striyaha patihi. For the eyes, eyelids are protector. Drisha paksha. Paksha means eyelid, drisha means eyes. Striyaha pati, for the woman, the husband. Wife, the husband. Pati prajanam bhikshunam grahi ajnanam baddhasvaharta. Grasta has to take care of the beggars because the sannyasis and brahmacharis and vanaprastha, they beg from the grasta, so they should give them. Ajnanam, ignorance, buddhi, the learned, and for the ignorant, learned, they should take care. So this verse is a principle. As the father and mother are the friends and maintainer of their children, as the eyelid is the protector of the eye, as the husband is the maintainer and protector of woman, as the householder is the mentor and protector of beggars, and as the learned is the friend of the ignorant, so the king is the protector and giver of the life to all his subjects. The trees are also subject of king, therefore they should be given protection. Srila Prabhupada's purport. By the supreme will of the personality of Godhead, there are various protectors and maintainers for helpless living entities. Trees are also considered praja, subject of the king, and therefore the duty of the monarch is to protect even the trees, not to speak of others. The king is duty bound to protect living entities in his kingdom. Thus, although the parents are directly responsible for the protection and maintenance of their children, the duty of the king is to see that all parents do their duty properly. Similarly, the king is also responsible for overseeing the other protector mentioned in this verse. It may also be noted that the beggars who should be maintained by householder are not the professional beggars but sannyasis and brahmanas, to whom the householders should supply food and clothing. So Chakravarti Pad writes, you are the protector of population. The trees and other entities are the population. The population should be protected. You must protect them. You cannot destroy them. 5 examples are given. Tokana means children, Striha pati, husband, Prajanam pati, king. So these are the 5 examples as principle who protects whom. Now verse number 13. अंतर्देहेषु भूतानाम् आत्मा सते हरि ईश्वरं सर्वं तद्धिष्णिम् ईक्षध्वम् एवं वस्तोषितो हे असौ. Supreme Personality of God is situated as super soul within the core of the heart of all living entities, whether moving or non-moving, including men, birds, animals, trees, and indeed all living entities. Therefore, you should consider everybody as residents or a temple of the Lord. By such vision, you will satisfy the Lord. You should not angrily kill these living entities in the form of trees. As stated in Bhagavad Gita and confirmed by all the Vedic scripture, Ishwar Sarvbhutanam Hirdeshu Arjun Tishtati. Therefore, since everybody's body is the resident of Supreme Lord, so one should not destroy the body because of unnecessary envy. That will dissatisfy Super Soul. Soma told the Prachudas that because they had tried to satisfy the Super Soul, now they should not displease him. Chakravarti Pad writes, since all living beings are the abode of the Lord, it is improper to kill them. Do you not remember that the Lord, who is merciful to all beings, will be pleased with you? Verse 14. Yaha samupayate tam deha akasam manyom ulbanam Atma jigyasya yache sagunanati vartate. This is advice. Good advice. What is the advice? One who inquire into the self-realization, jigyasu, thus subdue his powerful anger, manyu, which awakens suddenly in the body as if falling from a sky, all of a sudden. Transcending the influence of modes of material nature. So sudden appearance, this is vacho vegam, krodha vegam. So you have to tolerate and control the anger when it all of a sudden comes as a vega or as impulse. When one becomes angry, he forgets himself and his situation. But if one is able to consider his situation by knowledge, one transcends the influence of modes of material nature. One is always a servant of the lusty desires. This is common. This is natural. This is a principle. One is always a servant of lusty desire, anger, greed, illusion, envy, so forth. But if one obtains sufficient strength in spiritual advancement, one can control them. One who obtains such control will always be transcendently situated, untouched by the modes of material nature. This is only possible when one fully engages in the service of the Lord, as Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Mam chayo vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samataite tan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstances, at once transcend the modes of material nature and thus come to spiritual platform. By engaging one in devotional service, the Krishna conscious movement keeps one always transcendent to anger, greed, lust, envy, and so forth. One must perform devotional service because otherwise one will become victimized by modes of material nature. So what about this line? The Krishna conscious movement, by engaging one in devotional service, the Krishna conscious movement keeps one always transcendent to anger, greed, envy, and leave. But what about all of us who are practicing devotional service in Krishna conscious movement? Are we transcendental to anger, greed, lust, envy, and so forth? Huh? What do you think?
Maybe if we always are engaged in devotional service, maybe then we will be able to be transcendental to this. But since it's not always happening, no, it is not.
Okay, so I'm
It
saying,
depends.
so sometimes Srila Prabhupada gave this some statement, but it's so heavy. But what was yesterday's statement which we were discussing? One can see the form of the Lord and activities within the eye. What was the first line? That was also personal application. One who engages
Dancing ecstasy.
Constantly engaged. One who is constantly
engaged in devotional service can see the form and activities of Lord, right? And this says we will be free from all these vices. So it means we are in Krishna conscious movement, but still we have to go a long way. Right? Because this is what Prabhupada expects from us. The members of Krishna conscious movement must have the good realization. He can see the form within the heart and the activities, and he should be free from all these vices. When anger arises, how can one deliberate in this way? Akashat means suddenly. One should pacify anger by deliberation on the Atma. One will surpass the guna by doing this, but otherwise one will be destroyed by the gunas. Having spoken the technique of pacification, Sam, he then speaks using the technical of Bheda. Sam, Bheda, Danda, and what is the fourth? These are the four ways of political discipline. Sham, Dam. So he will give them Dam. Actually, he will pacify Prachatai by Dam, not by Bhed and Sam. Dam means he give them gift. Then they will be pacified. Sam means to discipline them, followers, and Bhed means to divide them. Alam tagai durmai dinai khilanam shivamasauva varakshi hesha varakanya patni tve prati grihatam. So still this Lord's moon god says, there is no need to burn these poor trees any longer. Let whatever trees still remain be happy. Indeed, you should be happy. Now there is a beautiful, well-qualified girl named Marisha, who was raised by the trees as their daughter, one Kanya. You may accept this beautiful girl as your wife. Having seen that Bhed did not pacify their anger, Sam and Bhed know. Then he uses dan, giving gift. She was considered the daughter of the trees because she was raised by the trees. 16. Itiya mantriha vararuhan kanyam apsarsim nirpa soma raja yayo dattva te dharmeno upayemre. Sukdev Goswami continued, my dear king, after thus pacifying the Prachetas, Soma, the king of Mon, gave them the beautiful girl born of Pramalocha Apsara. The Prachetas all received Pramalocha's daughter, who had high, very beautiful hips, and married her according to the religious system. So the 10 Prachetas married only one girl. Verse 17. Tebhyastasyam sambhava dakshaha prachetas yasya praja visargena loka apurita striyaha tebhyas tasyam sambhavat. So from that girl, Pracheta got Daksha as their son, and by Daksha, the three words are populated by generation. Visarga, secondary creation. In the womb of the girl, the Prachetas all begot a son, Daksh, named Daksh, who filled the three worlds with living entities. Now, Srila Prabhupada's purport. Daksh was first born during the reign of Swayambhu Manu. But because of offending Lord Shiva, he was punished by having the head of a goat substituted for his own head. Thus insulted, he had to give up that body, and in 6th Manvantar, called Chakshasa Manvantar, he was born of the womb of Marisha as Daksh. In this connection, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes the verse. So this is a verse. His previous body had been destroyed, but he, the same Daksh, inspired by the supreme will, created all the desired living entities in the Chakshas Manvantar. Thus Daksh regained his previous opulence and again begot thousands and millions of children to fill three worlds.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Can I ask a small question?
Yes.
So, this is happening in Chakshusha Manvantara, in the 6th Manvantara.
Yes.
And what kind of Visharga is in the 6th Manvantara? Is it after the Naimitik Pralay, after the night of Brahma?
No, it is not like that. This.
So Visharga is not on the Padmakalpa or the Brahmakalpa here. So I'm able to understand the Visarga, the category of Visarga here.
Being in the dynasty of Swayambhu Manu, Daksh was born during his Manvantar. Creation of the progeny by Daksh took place, however, during the Chakshu Manvantar, since it has been said, this verse, his previous body had been destroyed, but the same Daksh, inspired by the supreme will, created all the desired living entities in Chakshus Manvantar. It should be understood that the 5 Manvantar period, he performed austerities to regain his power in order to carry out creation during the Chakshus Manvantar.
Manu is no more Manu, because he was Manu in the 1st Manvantara.
Yes,
right?
after that 4 more has
So
passed. Yes.
So what I'm unable to understand is a Visharga, because this is all about Visharga.
See, every, one day, one night of Brahma.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
In a day of Brahma, there are 14 Manu. During the 14
Yes.
Manu's time, the Indra changes. Every Manvantar there is different Indra. There are different 7 rishis. There is a Manvantar avatar, and also for the creation, for the 7 rishis to be given as the daughters, because all these daughters of the Daksh are given to the 7 rishis. Because in each Manvantar there are different rishis, and then there are different Prajapatis also they create, because creation will continue. The secondary creation will continue. That creation is
Yes.
yeah. That's a,
Yeah.
that is
understand.
after Mahapralaya. You are asking about after
Yeah.
Mahapralaya.
Yeah, no, I understand now.
Yeah.
That means that after the Naimittika Pralay, or even the Pralay after each Manvantara, there's small Pralay.
Yeah, it
There
doesn't
is
even
Visarga, there's some creation.
even if there is no Pralaya, creation will continue.
Yes,
Like
okay.
there is no Pralaya now, also the children are born.
Okay.
So it's like, who is going to be the Prajapati in that Manvantar? There are rishis and
Okay.
Prajapatis like that.
Yeah.
Now, verse number
Okay.
18 to 22, Daksh performed austerities after his attempt to increase the population fails. So, this 18 to 20, this section, we are in 3rd section. Yatha Sasarja Bhutani, as he was creating the living entities, Daksha Duhitir Vatsaraha. Daksha Duhitar means daughter. Vatsala means very affectionate to the daughter. Retsa Mansa Chaiva. He first created creation by mind, but it was not lasting. So he created with Retasa, means with semen. Tan Mama Vihitaha Shrano. Now you hear from me that attentively you hear from me. Sutta Goswami continued, please hear from me with great attention how Prajapati Daksh, who was very affectionate to his daughters, created different type of living being entities through his semen and through his mind. Srila Prabhupada writes, the word Duhitar Vatsala indicate that all the Prajas were born from Daksh's daughters. Srila Vishwanath Thakur said, apparently Daksh has no son. Actually, Daksh has 10,000 sons, they are called Haryashav, then he has 1,000 sons called Bahulasav. All these sons were preached by Narad and they become brahmacharis. So there was no progeny from his sons. Ultimately, he gave birth to some 60 daughters. From that, the progeny continues. So this is in the upcoming 2 chapters. So practically, there's no Daksh has no creation from his son, no progeny from sons. His progeny is only from daughters. Verse number 19. Manasyaiva srijat purvam. First he was creating by mind only. Prajapati maha prajaha. He was creating the population by his mind. What he was creating? Deva, Asura, Manushya, Adim, demigods, Asuras, demons, human beings and others. Nabha, Stalha, Jalaukasha. They are in the sky, they are in the sky, on the land and in the water. So he was creating all type of creation. With his mind, Prajapati Daksh first created all kinds of demigod, demon, human beings, bird, beasts, aquatic and so on.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One question.
Yes.
With his mind he created means how, Prabhu? Like how it is exactly that his mind he created, Prabhu?
Oh, it is like that. In a dream we create so many things. Like Brahmaji created 4 Kumaras from his mind, 7 Rishis from his mind. So there is a power, by mind we can do so many things if we utilize that power. So So there's a mental creation.
Okay.
Like you create big buildings by your mind as a architect. You create factories by your mind. So many inventions are created by the mind. So similarly, in olden days, the powerful people can create the living entities by their mind.
But here, if we actually say create by building, means somebody has to build the building, that's workers all needed. So how that mind?
So mind has a power to create something. So mind has also power to create living entities by the powerful, because Brahma created everything without any, yeah. So there is a way to create so mind has a great power which nobody knows to utilize. Mind is very powerful. Mansik means we children by mind. So when creation was not continuing, the Mansik creation will not continue. Like in a dreams, we may have so many nice things, but by the time we wake up, everything disappears. So this creation, tam abhivan tam aloke, when he saw they are not lasting. Praja sargam prajapati vindyapadam. Then he just left to the Vindhyapadam, to the Vindhya mountain, such as Dushkram Tapa, and he did the austerities. So, but when Prajapati Daksh saw that he was not properly generating all kinds of living entities, he approached a mountain near Vindhya mountain range, where he executed very difficult austerities. 21. Tatra agamarsanam nama tirtham papaharam param. So there is a place of pilgrimage where all the sins are described. Agamarsanam. Upasirshanu saswan tavasvaushadharim. Near that mountain was a very holy place named Agamarshan. There Prajapati Daksh executed ritualistic ceremonies and satisfied Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari by engaging in great austerities to please him. Now, verse 22. Astoshid means satisfied. The Lord was satisfied. Asutosh, easily satisfied. Lord Shiva. So Astoshid means satisfied. Dhan saguhyena. How Prajapati satisfied Supreme Lord? Hansa goyena, by Hansa Goya prayers. Bhagavantam adhokshajam tubhyam tada abhidhasyami kasyatushyadyatari. My dear king, I shall fully explain to you the Hansa Goya prayers, which were offered to the Supreme Personality guarded by Daksh, and I shall explain how the Lord was pleased with him for those prayers, by those prayers. It is to be understood that Hansa Goya prayers were not composed by Daksh, but were existing in the Vedic literature. There is Astuti, Astotar. Astuti is somebody composing his own prayer, like Kunti Maharani's Astuti. Then there is Astotar, which are composed by somebody else, like we have Damodar Ashtakam. We have not composed, but we sing this. So there are different names for the prayers. Some are composed by some persons, rishis, and some are already in the Vedic literature and they are used. So these are the prayers Hansa Goya, they are already in the Vedic literature. Now this is the section. I think actually we were supposed to finish 22nd verse today. But we have some 40 minutes more. So we can continue further Hansa Goya prayers. This will continue from 23rd verse to 34 verses. So couple we can do today, or you have some question, can we discuss something? If you have question, we can discuss, have some discussion on the what we have up till verse 22, or else we can just go a little more further.
I have one question, Prabhu.
Yes.
This is regarding, because when you were reading the overview of the entire chapter, so it is said there that the Supreme Lord, he appeared in front of Daksha. So my question is, how is it possible that the Supreme Lord appeared in front of Daksha when it is clear from his behavior and everything that had happened that he wasn't like on the highest level of devotional service when the Lord normally appears?
So this chapter, this whole canto is Poshan or Anugraha. Anugraha means mercy of the Lord. So Daksha, for 5 manvantra, almost say half a day of Brahma, he was doing austerities at a place called Agamarshan, where the sins are destroyed. That place in the place of, he was doing austerities, and pleased by his austerities, Lord appeared before him, and then he offered the Hansaguhya prayers. So like Ajamil is not qualified devotee and Vaishnava that 4 Vishnu Duta appeared before him and he was delivered. Because he chanted holy name, so Lord has mercifully saved him. So Lord has mercifully appeared to Daksha because he was repenting for his mistake, for his offense. Because this whole canto is actually Poshan. Those who are not qualified, but still Lord is so merciful that he bestow mercy or anugraha on them. Like Indra killed the Vishwarupa, still he was favored by Lord. 2 times Indra has done the murder of the Brahman, but still he was favored by the Lord. So Poshan by the form, Lord appeared in his transcendent form to Daksha and blessed him that he should create, because it was pravrti. He was following the path of pravrti marg. Marg means path, pravrti means sense gratification and gradually advancing. And his again in the next chapter we'll meet the Narad preaching to his sons, and he become again angry. So still after so much austerity, still that offense continue, and he cursed Narad. Daksh still cursed Narad. So his offense was continued. Some trace was there. From Brahman he became Kshatriya. And again he offended Narad. He gave curse to Narad. So the Vaishnava Aparadha will continue. This is shown, and Lord is more merciful even to those who have some still fault, but if they want to please Lord, Lord is merciful. If only the highly qualified person are given mercy, then where the poor people will go who have no qualification. If Prabhupada was looking in the New York for some Vaishnava coming with pluck in a dhoti, then there would never have been movement. He was merciful even for on anybody and everybody, hippies or whoever were coming, he was just giving them opportunity to become Krishna conscious. So Krishna and his devotees are always too much merciful for fallen souls, and they give opportunity. If they want, they can advance. If they have little desire, then they can advance. But actually what you are saying is love of God is very difficult. Daksha did not get love of God. Even after the audience of Lord, still he... So again you see throughout the Bhagavatam, even after people have a darshan of Supreme Lord, still they become angry. Dhruva become angry after darshan. In the 4th chapter, Dhruva become angry with the Yakshas, and Swayambhu Manu has to come and pacify. You will see here the Prachetas become angry even after blessed by Lord Shiva and have a darshan of Lord Vishnu. So simply darshan is not enough. You need a sadhu sangha or a devotee association that will actually protect us and make us progress on the path back to Godhead. It is more important is devotee association. Because every time, even after darshan of Supreme Lord, there is a need of devotee association. That is repeatedly you can see in Bhagavatam. Swayambhu Manu is one of the Mahajan. He gave association to Dhruva Maharaj. Bali Maharaj, even Vaman Dev, he was talking with him and seeing, but still Prahlad Maharaj was sent to give him association after the darshan of the Bali Maharaj, the Vaman Dev. So this is a principle in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhakti Janam Ahite Bhakta Sanghe. The devotion is born by the mercy and association of a devotee. And by devotion you can have an audience of Supreme Lord, but still Bhakta Sangha Mukhya Anga. Still the devotee association is most important even after self-realization and realization of God. So Daksha still need devotee association to actually get more mercy. Yes, any other question? But we have discussed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So does it mean that Prachetas also were not 100% pure devotees because they got...
Prachetas become devotee when Narad again came and preached to them. In the 4th chapter, Narad is again coming and preaching to the Prachetas. Then they gave up everything and went for austerities. So again, the devotee association is necessary for actually advancing further. Prithu Maharaj, he was incarnation, he saw Supreme Lord in the yajna, but still then 4 Kumaras came and gave him the more advice to renounce.
Prabhuji?
Yes?
Prabhuji, like many devotees, many people get devotee association, but we see that some people advance in spiritual life, but some does not. So what is the reason?
Oh, there are both things. The land should be good and the seed should be good. If the seed is not good, land is good, there is no plantation. If the seed is good but land is not good, there is no plantation. So similarly, as I think once I told you what I have realized from Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's purport, if we get association of the devotees who are also practicing devotees, then we will come only to the stage of bhajan kriya. Then we take initiation, bas. If we get association of the Mahabhagavad devotees, then we can come to the stage of Anarth Nivarti and Nishtha. So the association of the devotees at 2 levels. As I think, Prabhupada's association of the new devotees, just hippies, was so powerful that they immediately came to Nishtha. But right now our preachers, they are preaching nicely, but they can bringing the people to initiation. But after that there is no much progress seen practically. This is what good purport I saw, and then I realized this is a practical application. This is what is happening actually. Those who like somebody asked question. I think Ekanta asked this question is like I answered this. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was so powerful to preach to Srila Prabhupada to give up all this material, political, independent business and just take to Krishna consciousness because that is emergency. So Prachin Bharit, because he was preached by Narad who was Mahabhagavat, so he immediately gave up kingdom and he went just for austerities. But we are not able to preach. By Prabhupada's preaching, so many people, some were really big people, but they gave up everything and joined the movement. So there is definitely association is a different level as a different. This is what Nectar of Instruction also says. We have to deal differently with the different devotees. Only Mahabhagavata can help us to advance in Krishna consciousness. But at least we have to come to the Madhyam Adhikari level. We should not never remain Kanishta whole life. That's what Prabhupada's advice. So this Bhakti Vaibhav study is actually helping us to come to the Madhyam level, because to have a faith in Shastra is a most important criteria for anybody to advance in a spiritual life. Faith in Shastra is a criteria for Madhyam, Kanishta and Uttam. The more faith in the Shastra, the more advanced the devotee is. Along with the faith in Shastra is devotion and attachment to the Supreme Lord and his dealing with other devotees. So these are the criteria. And generally devotee association means hearing from their Krishna Katha. And the typical devotee association verse is Satam Prasangam Mam Virya Samvidu. Satam means great devotee who are Mahabhagavat. And Prasangan means having discussion completely about the pastime of Supreme Lord's powerful activities. That will transform the heart and easily take us from the sadhan bhakti to the bhav bhakti and awaken the prema. That's the verse. This verse is actually the verse of the sadhu sangha. Satam prasangam mambirya samvidu ritakarana rasayana katha. Tajyoshanat, cultivation of devotional service. Apvarga vartamani shardha bhakti rati bhakti anukramashya. This 3:25-25. So yes, this is study of Bhakti Vaibhav with the more Acharya's commentaries, with the authorized institutes will help us to understand Shastra and advance more in our sadhan bhakti towards higher goals. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
So, Prabhu, seems like a very common thread in all these pastimes, the devotee association being like a mukhya anga. And it's like if they don't have that, because you see the anger aspect. Anger is the same side, the other side of the karma coin. Karma krodha is the same thing. So unless the sinful desires or the desire for karma is uprooted, which can only be done by the association of pure devotees, we see that thread in practically every canto now. Now we're talking about it. It's quite interesting.
See, calm is perversion of prem. Prem is natural, which is perverted, had become calm because of the mode of passion. So devotee association has to bring us to mode of goodness. And then we have to transcend there, and then we transform that lust into the love of God, and then all the problem is solved. Our Patri has some wise word of wisdom.
Prabhuji, thank you so much for such a wonderful point, that association of devotees is the really very strong goal. In fact, I was analyzing the many characters in Srimad Bhagavatam. Whatever, it may be Prithu Maharaj, or Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Vritrasura, Dasanudasu, Bhavita Simply. actually everybody asking for association of devotees, even the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj, even he is asking that Punascha Bhuit Bhagavat Ananta, if I have to take birth again, I actually need attachment to Krishna, friendly relationship with all living entities, and association of pure devotees. Actually, it's so powerful.
Therefore, therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the only rare thing in this world is devotee association.
Yes. But my point was actually interesting. ISKCON was created just to give people opportunity to associate Buddhayantas Paraspara.
Yes, yes. ISKCON Prabhupada said our temples are the place where people of like-minded come and practice devotional service in association of devotees. Yes.
Right. So, but very often, sometimes what we analyzing the situation is neophyte, new fight. So ever new and new fight we can see, and it's never seems like ending even. Well, but as a leaders, it's so important to have mature, snigdha association, very, very loving and friendly association, not fighting association.
No.
Because otherwise, Gaudiya Math was also such a great elevated devotees. In fact, I even heard, somebody was saying in a lecture, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, when he was leaving this world, he said, well, I have only 4 most faithful and royal disciple. I mean, 2 hands and 2 legs. Because in Kali Yuga, it's very rare to find somebody who can really dedicate bhalo na bhalo matra seva kori. Like Srila Prabhupada actually, only for Guru Maharaj he accepted this order. And that's why very, very rare to find as spiritual master, Brahmanda Brahmite, Bhagyavan. Similarly, very difficult to find bona fide disciple also. So, and I was one poetry came to my mind. In human life, we have a gift, an opulence, and a treasure. The true devotees of the Lord who want to give him pleasure. Keep Guru's order in the heart, example his behold, to whom you meet, give Krishna's feet. 2 lotuses to hold. Don't worry profit or the loss. Surrender life to Supreme Boss. And far and wide, try spread his fame by chanting sweet and holy name. Hare Krishna.
Jai, Hari Bol. Nice.
See Guru's order, keep Guru's order, Prabhupada's order in the heart, and example his behold. Just see the example, what Prabhupada had done, time will show. Like Jesus Christ was understood years and hundreds of years later. This world yet to understand what Prabhupada had done. And you're right, he brought immediately everyone to Nishtha level, not just struggling to make one life member even nowadays, and to what to speak about even making initiation. But Prabhupada was really amazing. Thank you so much for helping us to one day become devotees of the Madhikaris. Habe bolo Sedina Amar. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Jai Patri.
Very important.
Anybody else has to say something?
Excuse me, can I ask a not philosophical question?
Go ahead.
A very simple one, but about this Marisha. It was said that she was raised by the trees. Is it literally by the trees, or maybe by some demigods who were responsible for these trees?
Always there is like the moon god is the king of the Vanaspati, or the say this what is called agriculture care, or plantation. He is the king of plantation. So similarly, there are personalities which like a moon is a person who is a king of the plantation. So there is also one Kanya. One means forest, Kanya means girl. So there's a personification of one Kanya. There's a one Raj, there's a king of one, and there's a one Kanya. There's a girl which is the queen of the one. And so actually we have this information that Marisha is the daughter of Parmalocha Apsara. So Parmalocha Apsara gave birth to Marisha. And then one Kanya, in forest she was, nurtured in forest. So she is considered one Kanya. She is like Vanaspati. Vanaspati means plantation. And Kanya means daughter of the Vanaspati because she just lived in the forest and raised by the presiding deity of the forest, you can say like that. I think if you just think of the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there are two paths of living this world. The Devyan and Pitrayan. One in dark fortnight and one in bright fortnight. One in first is Uttarayan and one is Dakshinayan. So Baldev Vidyabhushan says these are all the personalities. The personality of day, personality of fortnight, personality of year. So there are some 12 personalities. They take the soul from one jurisdiction to the other jurisdiction. They hand over to the other. So similarly, the whole forest have their presiding deity, which has taken care of this Marisha, the daughter of Parmalocha.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Can I ask one question? Additionally, we can see in Vedic philosophy everything has personalities. Ganga Devi, Parvati, daughter of mountains. Why not daughter of forest also? That's as a point.
But there are they are all person also. This is I used to say always, remember, the earth has three forms: Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik and Adhyatmik. In Adi Bhautik form, the earth is like mountain, rivers, this is what we see. But in Adi Devik form, she take the form of cow, a symbol of tolerance. And in Adhyatmik, she is Bhu Devi, the wife of Lord Vishnu. So she has three forms. Like Ganga has also three forms. A river, and the mother Ganga, the mother of Bhisham Dev, and also Brahma Dravya in the spiritual planet. So there are different personalities, the different Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik and Adi Devik aspect is also there.
In Nepal, actually, in Muktinath Dham, there is Bhudevi also with Muktinath Vishnu.
Yeah, Bhudevi is a wife of the Lord Vishnu. The Shri Devi and Bhudevi both are Vishnu Tva, Prithvi Tva Vishnu Dhrita. When we put the asan on the earth, there is a mantra. Prithvi, Vishnu Patni. Vishnu Patni, Bhudevi, we are putting our seat on you. Please bless us that we can meditate on Supreme Lord. So there is a mantra to spread asan on the earth. And the word says Vishnu Patni. Prithvi Tva Dhrita Loka Vishnu Patni. Asan Pavitra Chashkru, something like that.
Even every morning I heard this mantra before we step on the earth from the bed.
Yeah. Parvat Vastane Devi Samundar Mandale, something like that is there, yes.
Prabhuji, one question regarding this is Marisha and Prachetas. When in Mahabharata, Draupadi, she was arguing how come lady can get married with 5 men. Then it was big conflict because Drishtadyumna came and Draupad came, big conflict. So mediation and high court and everything happened. But then Vyasadeva came and said, well guys, actually let me mediate. It's not the first case. In some exceptional cases, I believe Yudhishthira Maharaj said, my heart telling that it's correct. And my heart is never cheating me because I'm Dharmaraj. And Vyasadeva gave example of this Prachetas. Several examples he gave, but I believe this is one of the examples he gave as a proof that one lady can be married with several men.
And then also some past history is also there because you wanted most beautiful, you wanted most powerful, because one man cannot be that. So we get 5 demigods together to satisfy your need, something like that. 5 times you said I need. So there are some reasons given there. When I was reading first time, I minutely scrutinized, like said, 10 Parchita married one girl. I was saying 5 Pandavas, one Drupadi. Now these are 10. They are double than that. Because they are the Lord Vishnu told to the Prachetas, because you 10 brothers have a one, you are one unit. You are never arguing with one another. You follow your father. You are blessed by Lord Shiva, and you are, there's one, I think, ek mat or something like that. You have one opinion, or you have one, you are together, therefore you can live together.
Yes, that's why there's a prayer in the fourth canto Bhagavatam also, when they were doing this tapasya. And this is Lord 4:38. He said, I'm so pleased with you because of your friendship, mutual friendship. And this is actually to keep Pandavas together. He put Draupadi, Krishna. So to make it as a cemented them together. Otherwise, usually women can become cause of this quarrel and fight. So, but this case, just to unite them and keep their friendship together. That's very, very wonderful example. How Shakti can unite everyone. Thank you.
Okay, I think we have some 20 minutes left. Can we just go for a few more verses of Hans Guhya prayers? Sri Prajapati Vacha Namah Paraya unto the transcendence. Avitatha, correct. So these are the qualification, or these are the characteristics of Supreme Lord. Prajapati Daksha said, when he saw the Lord Vishnu with 8 limbs. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental to illusory energy. And the physical categories it produces. He possesses the potency for unfailing knowledge and supreme willpower. He is controller of living entities and illusory energy. The conditioned souls who have accepted this material manifestation as everything cannot see him, for he is above the evidence of the experimental knowledge. Self-evident and self-sufficient. He is not caused by any superior cause. Let me offer my respectful obeisances. Self-born Lord, Swayambhuve, superior to Jiva and Maya and its products, Paraya, who is real knowledge, Avitit Anubhutya, who inspires to act, Nimitta Bandhave. The Jiva and matter, Guna Trai Abhas, who has form unseen, Adrishta Dhamine. By the Jiva whose intelligence is absorbed in material objects and who cannot be known. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The transcendental position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is explained here. He is not perceivable by the conditioned souls, who are accustomed to material vision and cannot understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead exists in his abode, who is beyond that vision. Even if a materialist person could count all the atoms in the universe, he could still be unable to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also a verse. And this is the verse Chakravarti Pad has quoted here. Brahma's prayer. Gunatmanste api gunan vimatum hetva. In time, learned philosophers, scientists might be able to count all the atoms of the earth, particles of the snow, or perhaps even the shining molecules radiating from the sun, the stars and the other luminaries. But among these learned men, who could possibly count the unlimited transcendental qualities possessed by you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have descended onto the surface of earth for the benefit of living entities. This is the verse Srila Prabhupada has just paraphrased here. Then to corroborate that verse, Srila Prabhupada has given Brahma Santa, Panthastu Koti Shatavatsra Sampragya Manjayur. So this is the conditioned souls may try to understand Supreme Personality of Godhead for many billions of years. Though through their mental speculation, traveling at the speed of mind wind, but still absolute truth will remain inconceivable to them, because a materialistic person cannot measure the length and breadth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unlimited. If the absolute truth is beyond measurement, one may ask, how can one realize him? The answer is given here by the word Swayambhave. One may understand him or not, but nevertheless he is existing in his own spiritual potency. Paraya means the Lord who is superior to Jiva and Maya and their product of Maya. How is that? His true perception. He is instigator of the Jiva and Maya. He has a form which is unseen by the Jiva, who think that sense objects are real. That form is not understood by others. It cannot be measured. No one can say the extent of his qualities or powers. And then Brahma's verse is quoted. Okay, next verse. Oh, this is says, other thought, causes, ultimate cause, maker. Material cause, wood. Instrumental cause, instruments. Formal, the four causes. If the Lord exists and we interact with him on the everyday basis, how is it we can't perceive him? This verse 24. Na yasya sakhyam purusho aveti sakyo sakha vasam samvastava pure asmin guno yatha gunino vyakta drishtes Tasmai Maheshaya Namaskaromi. Now, for this translation, I go to first read Chakravarti Pad. Says, I offer respect to the great Lord, Tasmai Maheshaya Namaskaromi, the friend Sakha, residing Vasam within the body of the Jiva Asmin Pure, who allows the Jiva to manifest knowledge Vyakta Drishte, and whom, Yasya, the Jiva, Purusha, though living with him, samvastitha, does not recognize as a friend, na avaiti sakyo. Just as the sense object do not know the revealing power of the senses, yatha guno gunai. Now the word sakha, purport is on the word sakha. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Srila Prabhupada is first speaking the analogy. The sense object, form, touch, taste, smell, sound, cannot understand how the sense perceive them. So the conditioned soul, although residing in his body, along with super soul, cannot understand how this Supreme Spirit person, the master of the material creation, directs his senses. Let me offer my respectful obeisance unto Supreme Person who is Supreme Controller. Now Chakravarti Srila Prabhupada writes, first Srila Prabhupada is saying there are two birds, like this analogy of two birds living on the one tree, the soul and super soul. The soul is enjoying bird and super soul is witness. So this is Prabhupada says effect in the Upanishad. Actually the super soul is directing the working of one's senses in the enjoyment of sense object. But as the sense object cannot see the senses, the conditioned soul cannot see the directing soul. The conditioned soul has desire and Supreme Lord fulfill them. Nityo nityanam chetas chetanam eko bahunam viddhati kama. Kama means desire. But the conditioned soul is unable to see the Supreme Lord. Thus, Prajapati Daksha offered his obeisance to the Supreme Soul, the Super Soul, even though unable to see him. Another example given is that although ordinary citizens work under the direction of government, they cannot understand how they are being governed or what the government is. Madhvacharya quoted this verse, Yatha Rajnah Priyatvam tu Bhrityaha Vedena Chat Manhat Tatha Jivo Na Yata Sakhyam Veti Tasmai Namo Astute. As the various servant in a different department of a big establishment cannot see the supreme managing director under whom they are working, the conditioned soul cannot see the supreme friend sitting within their bodies. Let us therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto the supreme who is invisible to our eyes. This verse elaborates on the unseen form of the Lord. Jiva does not know the Lord is his friend, the person who allows his senses to operate. So Lord is operating our senses. Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. The Lord lives in the body as a friend. Though he is Atma Ram, Lord don't need anything. He allows the Jiva to enjoy a sense object out of his friendship. And the Jiva, though his friend living in the body and experiencing the Lord's friendship, does not know him. The Lord reveals knowledge of the sense object to the Jiva through manifesting his intelligence and senses. Vyakta Drishti. Another version is Vyakta, okay. Then it refers to the Jiva by whom knowledge is revealed. It is like sense objects which do not know the senses' ability to reveal sweetness and other qualities of the sense objects. Verse number 25. Deho asvo akshaha manvo bhuta matram atmanamanyam cha vido param yat sarvam puman veda gunanstajagyo na veda sarvajnam anantam ide. Ide means worship. Because they are only matter. Who? Body, life air, external and internal senses. What are the internal senses?
Mind, intelligence, one second.
Yes, mind, intelligence,
One second.
and in a fourth,
Consciousness.
and polluted consciousness, dushit chitta. And each of these internal senses is called antah karan. Karan means senses, antah means internal. And there is a presiding deity for these. There is a presiding deity for external senses and presiding deity for internal senses. So you remember? Anybody remember? Just give some example. Presiding deity for the hand.
Indra,
Indra, yes. Presiding deity for eye.
Sun.
Sun, yes. Presiding deity for ears.
directions,
Ashwani Kumar, I think. So presiding deity for internal senses.
Chaturvyuha.
Chaturvyuha, yes. So Vasudev is for
Chitta.
Chitta.
Chitta, okay.
So Dimres for intelligence, Asankarsan for Ahankar, and Anirudh is for the mind.
Yes, and what else is for mind, Prabhupada, as in purport?
Chandra.
Chandro Mansa Jata, Prabhupada has quoted that, yes. So this is, when you are reading this, it is better to, revise in your mind external senses, internal senses, then these things should come in your mind, spark. then it means when your eyes are seeing words, you can see the whole picture behind. The 5 gross elements and 5 subtle sense objects cannot know their own nature, the nature of the other senses, or the nature of their controller, because this is matter. How can home know the owner of the home? How can car know the owner of the car? Because it is a matter. But the living being, because of his spiritual nature, because the living can know his body, the life air, the senses, the elements, and the sense object. And he can also know the 3 qualities that form their roots. Nevertheless, although the living is completely aware of them, he is unable to see the Supreme Being, who is omniscient and unlimited. I therefore offer respectful obeisance unto him. Material scientists can make an analytical study of physical elements, the body, the senses, the sense object, and even the air that control the vital forces, but still they cannot understand that above all, these is the real spirit soul. In other words, the living entity, because of his being the spirit soul, can understand all the material objects, or when self-realized, can understand Paramatma, upon whom yogis meditate. Nevertheless, living being, even if advanced, cannot understand the Supreme Being, the personality of Godhead, for he is Ananta, unlimited in all 6 opulences. So even if they can realize Paramatma, but to know Bhagavan is difficult. The sense object cannot know since they are material. But the Jiva is conscious. Why does the Jiva not know the Lord? Though the Jiva is conscious, he is unconscious of the Lord. The body, the life air in the body and senses and the internal senses, manvaha, the 5 gross elements, bhuta, and the sense object, matram, do not know their own form or form of other living things, or the form of Jiva different from all other items, atmas. The Jiva, however, because it is conscious, knows everything. The self, the body, the guna, the matter, which are root of all those items. In the liberated state, Jiva also knows the Paramatma, Tagya, but does not know the Supreme Lord. But you said the Jiva knows the Paramatma. Why do you say he does not know the Lord? He does not know because Lord is spiritual qualities. Lord's spiritual qualities are unlimited, anantam. It is said, Dyupatya evate na yayur anantam anantatya tvam api yad antara anda nichaya nanau savaranaha kha eva rajansi vanti. Same. O Lord, you are unlimited, no one can estimate the extent of your potencies. I think that even you do not know the range of your potential energies, unlimited planets float in the sky just like atom, and great Vedantists who are engaged in research to find you discover that everything is different from you. Thus they finally decide that you are everything. So this is the Hans Guye prayer we are discussing, verse number 26 and 7, Lord's personal and impersonal forms. After 10 minutes, I will call you Sanak Sanatan Prabhu. So we should end it here. Connection with previous verses. Lord can be known in 2 aspects. His impersonal aspect, which is easy to understand, and his form with qualities which is difficult to understand. Daksh is first describing the easily understood aspect. So from here we will continue tomorrow. It's okay? Yes. Hare Krishna. So we were 19 today, and now we are 18. So, okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, any question or comment?
Lord is a transcendental. What does it mean?
It means it's beyond three modes of material nature. It means it's beyond those who are under the influence of three modes of material nature. It also means adokshaja. It's beyond the reach of senses and mind. Okay, thank you. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव